Hello, folks. If you hadn't already guessed, we're going to be talking about the Ark of the Covenant today. In Exodus 25:10, God told Moses to tell the children of Israel to build an ark of shittim wood. And instead of being confusing here, let's just say a cubit equals 18 inches, because I don't want to cubit. Yeah. So God told them to build the ark about approximately 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot and overlay it with gold and install 4 golden rings, 2 on each side. These are to put the staves through the poles to carry the ark. In verse 16, God said, "And ye shall put in the ark the testimony that I will give you," which is the 10 Commandments he hadn't got yet. "And thou shalt make a mercy seat of gold, 2 foot by 4 foot, and make 2 cherubims of gold in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Put 1 cherubim on one end and the other cherubim on the other end, facing each other, and outstretched wings. And I will talk to you later from above the mercy seat and between the cherubims, which are upon the ark of the testimony." Now I want you to remember this phrase, Ark of the Testimony, because I'm going to refer to it later. Now in our current days, we have the Holy Spirit within each of us, but back in the Old Testament days, the Ark of the Covenant represented God's presence. In Joshua chapter 3, it says, "Joshua told the Israelites that when you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, your God, being carried by the Levites, get up and follow them to the promised land. Follow from afar off, a little less than a mile, so you can keep it in sight, but don't go near it. When the priests came to the river Jordan, they brought the ark into the river, and the river stopped to allow the Israelites to cross. And after they got to the other side, the river started flowing again." In Joshua chapter 6, the people were up against Jericho's wall, where no one came in and no one came out. The Lord told Joshua to have the men march around the wall 6 days, followed by the Ark of the Covenant, and on the 7th day the men shall give a loud shout, and the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. The people did as God told them, and they took the city. So the Lord was with Joshua and caused him to gain great fame. In 1 Samuel chapter 4, the Israelites were at war with the Philistines, and the Philistines were winning. Israel had lost 4,000 men. So the people came back to the camp and said to the elders, "We're getting our butts kicked. Can we please fetch the Ark of the Covenant out of Shiloh and bring it here so that we may win instead of losing?" When they brought the ark to the camp, all the men cheered, and when the Philistines heard this uproar, they were scared. But they were instructed to be strong and fight like the warriors that they are. Well, they fought better than ever and conquered the Israelites, about 30,000 men, and the Philistines took the ark. They took the ark to Ashdod and brought it to the house of Dagon and set it next to Dagon, which is their false god. When they woke in the morning, they went to the house of Dagon, and there was Dagon fallen onto his face. So they stood him back up and shrugged it off. The next morning, Dagon was on his face again, except this time his hands and his head were cut off, and only his stump remained. Now the hand of the Lord was strong on the people of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods. Here we go. I looked this up, the word emerods, in the Strong Concordance, and it says fortress or stronghold, which doesn't make sense. Arnold Murray says it means hemorrhoids, which I'm not going for that either. But Google says it means boils, which Could be. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, the men of Ashdod have had enough and said, we have got to get rid of this ark. So they took the ark to Gath. So now God destroys that city and smote the men in the city with emerods in their private parts. Okay, I'm now more confused. Who knows? So now the people of Gath sent the ark to Ekron. So now the Ekronites were very afraid, and rightly so, and God did the same with their city. The survivors said, get this ark out of here. So the ark was with the Philistines for 7 months, and they said, what are we going to do with this ark? They decided to put it on a cart and pull it with 2 oxen and send it back to the Israelites. But make sure and send an offering also that God might not destroy us. What then should we send with it? Some genius decided they should send 5 golden emerods. Here we go again. And 5 golden mice. That was a bright idea, wasn't it? Oh, well. So they sent it away to Beth Shemesh. And when it got there, the Philistines turned around and went back home. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were happy to see the ark and took it off the cart and placed it on a stone and offered up a sacrifice. Now the Lord smote the people of Beth Shemesh, numbering 50,070 people. So they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kirjath Jearim. Boy, these names. Saying, the Philistines have brought us the ark of the Lord. Come you down and fetch it back up to you. So the people did come and get the ark and took it back to Kirjath Jearim and took it to the house of Abinadab and sanctified Eleazar, Eleazar, his son, to keep the ark of the Lord. Now it stayed here for 20 years. Then King David went to Abinadab's house with a cart to get the ark and bring it to Jerusalem. Abinadab's sons, Uzzah and Ahio, I don't know these names. I should have picked a different subject. Anyway, his 2 sons helped with the cart. At one point, the oxen shook the cart, probably went through a dip or over a bump, and Uzzah saw that it might fall, so he put his hand on the ark to keep it steady. Now this made God very angry, because you're not supposed to touch it, and that's why it had rings on the side with poles to carry it. So God smote him on the spot, and he lay dead right there. This scared David so much that he took the ark to the house of Obed-Edom and left it there for 3 months. The Lord then blessed Obed-Edom and his household. When David heard this news that they were blessed for keeping the ark of God, God then took the ark from there to Jerusalem. David pitched a tent and called it the tabernacle, and he placed the ark in there. Then one day David was sitting in his house, and he said, here I am living in a house built of cedar, and the ark of God is in a tent. So he built a temple and moved the ark in there. Had a temple built. After 40 years, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon captured Jerusalem and raided the temple. Less than 10 years later, King Nebuchadnezzar returned and took what was left in the temple and burned the city to the ground. So what happened to the ark? Did King Nebuchadnezzar take it? Was it destroyed with the city, or was it removed and hidden safely away? All I know is in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 19, it says the ark is in heaven. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of the testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. If you remember earlier, I told you to remember that phrase, Ark of the Testament. And that was God who called it that. So yes, it's called the Ark of the Covenant, but it's also called the Ark of the Testament. So I guess all these explorers that are searching for the Ark haven't read the Bible, or they think, well, the book of Revelation is in the future, so hey, who knows? So even if they do find it, God will take it away. It's going to end up in heaven. That's. Anyway, it traveled around a lot, didn't it? I want to thank y'all for listening to me again. Please subscribe if you hadn't already. Share this video with your friends and hit that thumbs up button to like the video, and I will see you next week.